Why do so few people in Kuala Lumpur use public transport? Despite massive investments in MRT and LRT systems, only 20% of Malaysians rely on them daily. Meanwhile, cities like Singapore, Tokyo, and Seoul are way ahead. So what's holding KL back? Let's find out. Hi everyone, I am Jason Kang and I talk about travels and economics and sometimes geopolitics. Malaysia's National Transport Policy 2019 to 2030 aimed to push public transport usage to 40%. Today, it remains at only 20%. In comparison, Singapore achieves over 60%, Tokyo more than 70%, and Seoul stands at around 65%. These numbers show that efficient public transport is possible even in dense Asian cities. So why is Malaysia lagging? One major factor is urban design. Kuala Lumpur is built with cars in mind, low-density housing, highways, and scattered development. Public transport becomes inconvenient when stations are far from where people live or work. Contrast this with Singapore, where MRT stations are built into dense residential areas. Tokyo, where train lines reach deep into suburban neighborhoods. Seoul, where public transport is always within walking distance. In KL, driving often seems faster and more practical. Another issue is the lack of last-mile solutions. Even if the MRT or LRT is fast and modern, many people can't easily reach the stations. Feeder buses are limited. Pedestrian walkways are often missing or unsafe. Compare that to Seoul, where public transport is complemented by bike, sharing, and safe walkways. Or Singapore, where sheltered paths and frequent buses connect seamlessly with train stations. KL lacks that supporting infrastructure that makes public transport usable from start to finish. And do not forget that the weather in Malaysia is relatively hot, which can be hard for cyclists to commute around even with bike lanes. In KL, many people still view public transport as a backup plan. It's often seen as something those who don't own a car. In contrast, in places like Tokyo or Seoul, taking the train is completely normal, even for professionals. Changing public mindset is part of the challenge. And that change comes through better design and branding, not just building more lines. Public transport in KL is affordable, especially compared to car ownership. But what matters more is accessibility. People choose convenience. And without full coverage of the city, they still rely on private cars. In cities like Hong Kong and Singapore, even higher income groups use public transport regularly. Why? Because it's not just affordable, it's accessible, comfortable, and fast. Malaysia does have a clear policy direction, like the Road to Rail initiative, but much of the focus is on cargo and freight, such as the ECRL project, not necessarily urban commuters. Cities that succeed in public transport, like Singapore, do so with a coordinated transport authority, long-term planning, and consistent upgrades in urban mobility. To reach the 40% target, Malaysia can learn 3 key lessons. Integrate walking, cycling, and feeder networks into the transport system. Promote public transport as the first choice, but this has to be with improved feeder services, especially the distance from residential to stations. MRT and LRT also need to improve the train frequency. This is because the station can be quite congested with passengers, especially during peak hours. It's not just about expanding train lines, it's about building a complete, connected system that people want to use. Public transport is more than just infrastructure. It's about how people live, move, and interact with the city. Kuala Lumpur has made progress, but without strong urban planning and user-first design, the numbers won't change. Thank you for watching. What do you think about this? Do not forget to subscribe for more content like this and leave your thoughts as well. See you in the next video.